ahead and talk about the blue tsunami. Okay. Was it a tsunami? Was it a wave? Was it a trickle? Well, let's talk about it a little bit. So, this particular story that I'm coming from now is from NPR. In California, voters backed Proposition 50 to redraw congressional lines in favor of fairness and accountability. Meanwhile, in New York City, the surprise win of Zoran Maldani, a 34-year-old progressive, signals that grassroots energy is shifting power away from establishment elites. In Virginia and New Jersey, Democrats held key offices by campaigning on affordability, not ideology. So, what are the key takeaways? First, cost of living emerged as the political fault line. The Washington Post talked about that. Secondly, Prop 50 is not just about maps, it's about challenging partisan gaming in democracy. I know that there's a few stories about that, even in the Guardian as well.
Mhm.
Third, Mandami's win shows that when people feel ignored, they'll leap towards bold change, even if it carries a risk. And Financial Times talks about that. And then for humanists, us is right, who care about justice and secular civic engagement, these aren't just party wins. They signal that citizens want dignity, equity, and institutions that actually serve people. Now,
It was a lot. I mean, here in Texas, we had very few sort of candidate elections. Like some areas only had propositions where I voted, which actually was my very, very first time ever voting. And yes, I'm a legal citizen. Don't worry, people.
yay!
The illegals aren't out there voting, all right?
Oh
But
wow.
anyways, so so yeah, so I voted, and all we had was propositions. I was happy to vote for them, but I was surprised by one
Yeah.
thing, and it's that they all passed, and I was like, wait a minute, people are just straight up voting either yes or no. They don't even know what they're voting for because they didn't
Mm.
vote, mixed up. It was like straight up. So that's a really weird experience for me because I looked them all up. I was like, if I'm gonna go vote, I'm gonna go see exactly what I'm voting for. Um, so that's one of the things that concerns me as far as like um, elections in other areas. Like, did the Proposition 50 it passed in California, right? That's the one that we were
Mhm.
talking. Okay, yeah. So it did
Yep.
pass. Okay, I guess that's a good thing. Uh,
Well, I mean, like it was definitely a challenge concerning what Greg Abbott did.
It's hard. Texas is difficult because like right now we're dealing with a lot of issues with HISD. It's Houston Independent School District. Anybody
Mhm.
who looks into it, there's pretty much a campaign against it. I say against it. There's a lot of people with a lot of ideas, excuse me, who came in, removed jobs, filled those jobs, and now they're pushing a lot of ideological changes.
Mm.
There's a lot of issues with private school vouchers coming to Texas, and they're
Mm.
really trying to justify that.
Mhm.
Okay, good example. Right now, we just had a board. I'm considering running for HIC school board. I'm not joking. My kid has is in SPED and has some exemptions due to some learning stuff, and they're given special exemptions and exceptions, things like different times, certain tester times. It's just a whole big boring thing. Well, the district just now decided that everybody, even if they get exemptions and other things for legitimate learning disabilities, things that are legit, they have to take the same time test as the kids who are not. And the whole thing is that they're pushing people out. They're trying to increase the failure rate. They're doing a lot of things to justify these vouchers. I mean, this is. I remember whenever we were on a podcast before, all of us together, we talked about these vouchers before, and yeah, it's a big problem, and I'm seeing it happen in HISD. And if anybody wants to look into HISD, and if you look at HISD in a lot of like Florida school districts, this is what they're doing. It's like a trickle up thing whenever it comes to the school district stuff, and it's just the whole thing that we're seeing, like the leeching in and the takeover of public systems by people with motivated reasons behind it, generally Christian nationalist stuff. You also have to look at like our Canvas program, which is the school educational program. It's owned by Amazon. The platform is owned by fucking Amazon. So yeah, we're far enough into this now that I can talk. Yeah, it's fucked. And I just learned this, and the whole thing is crazy. And we have like issues with Canvas, and it's the whole thing is just becoming corporatized and monopolized. Like I saw a joke recently. I forget. I was watching a satirical cartoon or a show with my kid, and it was like in the future to where Amazon owned the schools and all these things, and it's like they literally do own our educational platform. So yeah, I don't know. Texas seems to be, they're making the poor poorer, and then with the redistricting and all the stuff they're doing, they're focusing everything in on people who already have, and they're uplifting it. There's becoming a great divide between the working class and the rich here in Texas, and it's trickling up to the rest of the United States. Sorry, I could ramble, but please, Cynthia, please, your show.
You're
Yeah,
good.
so let me add real quick
Oh,
that some,
please, yeah.
Yes,
some
yeah.
good news for you, Jason. So I think you both may know Will Judy from Secular
Yeah.
Houston. And so he's been working really, really hard with the Cypress Fairbanks
Cypher, yeah,
Cypher district,
yeah.
and which is literally next to mine. I thought I was gonna be able to vote on their school board, but I wasn't because I'm just like right outside of it. But anyways,
Mhm.
they flipped it. They had like all conservative board members, and now it's the majority are like liberal.
Good,
They were
good.
pissed, but it worked. It worked. Yeah, because like they were like canvassing and knocking on people's doors and doing mail in voting cards and stuff. So it's like
Oh no, we're gonna raise hell with the district. Like we're already up to special education people's asses pretty much, and we're really like we're super helpful, and we really love the people there, but their hands
Mhm.
get tied by the district. And there's been teachers who've helped us. I'm not gonna say how or what, but they've
Right.
helped us, and because they understand. It's it'd be one thing if like the kid was just a turd, but whenever the kid's trying their hardest and they actually have legitimate learning disabilities but are still keeping up in advanced classes by putting in 3 times the work,
Mhm.
but then they're going to screw you on some time test when really that's
Mhm.
that's the thing, is the processing speed. That's all it is. Like
Mhm.
not all, but like
Yeah.
that's the big part of it is processing speed. And you're going to
Yeah.
do that? No, fuck you, man. Like my kid puts in too much fucking work, and I know these other kids do too, for you to like your fucking uneducated ass to come in here and start making these decisions.
Yo, let me tell you
Nepo
something, guys.
politicians.
Let me tell you something. So, this past March, I went to Washington, D.C. with the Secular Coalition of America, and we specifically were lobbying against a school voucher program to be doled on the federal level.
Mm-hmm.
This basically would give um, uh, uh, the private schools ability to get public school funding,
Yep.
even though they majority of private schools in the United States are Christian,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have to accept the child if they don't want to. They can come up with any type of reason,
Mm-hmm.
including bigoted reasons, if they don't want to. If they say, or if they put the caveat in of, well, this child comes from a Muslim family, and we're non-denominational, and so that would not be a good idea for them to come.
Yeah.
Also, let's not forget that often private schools are not going to necessarily have their tuition be at a base level because they're getting federal funding.
Mm-hmm.
They're are known to actually raise the tuition fees,
That's by design.
and it is by
Mhm.
design.
That is by
Exactly.
design. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And to your point, Jason, when it comes to some of these special accommodations that you would give to students, especially when they may be working with learning like learning disabilities, or even processing speeds are not as going to be standard, so they may need
Mm-hmm.
more time as far as like doing tests. Let me tell you something, guys. When I was in college, I hated tests. And I would go to my professors and be like, yo, I know we got this final, right? But can I
Mm-hmm.
like write a paper?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like a lot of times they let me do it. They
I've done that
did.
too. I've done that
Yeah.
too. I can write
Yeah.
papers like a son of a bitch, man.
Man,
Yeah.
put me in the library with some in the stacks
Hmm.
with some old books and I will fuck a bibliography up in a minute.
Hell yeah, dude. I love
Like,
writing papers.
gee, like my APA is on point,
Hell
Joe.
yeah,
Let me
dude.
tell you. So, but like a lot of times they let me do research papers 17, 18, 20, 25, 35 pages, all this other
Hmm.
stuff, like, with notes, footnotes, bibliography, all the whole nine, right? And I preferred that because it was easier for me to express my thoughts to show that I actually knew the subject matter. But that's not going to be always a guarantee for students who happen to be in some of these other schools, especially if they have a tendency to teach to test.
Hmm.
And a lot of kids don't learn that way. You know,
Well, Cynthia, it's
they
even worse.
yeah,
Yeah, mine doesn't. Mine
yeah,
doesn't good. No.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
So I can imagine like how like kids would, be that's coming after me, especially since the learning tools are different.
Dude, Cynthia, let me tell you something. So
Tell me.
these standardized, okay, so they have these tests that are district and you
Hold
have to
on.
pass them.
Hold on. I just gotta say, I know that this is supposed to be about the blue tsunami, but this is far more interesting because,
Oh, I'm
like,
sorry. Well, no,
I
this is
got
why we need,
I got kids in school right now, so let's talk about it.
well,
Go ahead.
this is why we need people who actually, are educated, know how to use critical reasoning skills that are
Mhm.
leftist, liberal, progressive, because
Yeah.
here's what happens. So since we've now Republicanized the HISD school system, they have a specific curriculum they have to teach. But
Oh
then the
yeah, the blue
testing that they
bonnet.
have to
Yeah.
do is the most chat GPT full of error bullshit. And then the answers they give aren't even words that they've used in class. But these are the
Mhm.
timed tests for the autistic kids, for the kids with special needs, for the ADHD kids, for the neurotypical kids, for the kids with processing issues, the kids with physical impairments. They have to take all these tests, and what they do is they teach them a very specific curriculum. Like, let's take a kid, let's take a mythical kid who's a literal learner. They
Mhm.
learn and then they regurgitate. But then you get a very literal learner with a thing that's like not even the right words. And then the questions are this long, and you have 6 minutes to do 7 questions that are this long with answers this long, and there's 5 questions, and they haven't even practiced that answering question style coming up to it. But this is the time test, and this has the majority grade to it, and you're not going to give exceptions and accommodations on that. It's fucked up. It's literal chat GPT with spelling errors and pronunciation errors. And I mean, it's just trash. And then they say things wrong. And then the answers are actually, there'll be 2 or 3 correct answers, but this is the one that is the most correct. They're doing like SAT level stuff with a fucking, just a dumb fuck machine that's that has the algorithm of a dumb fuck. Like it's caught onto the algorithm of some dumb fuck in this district that's just pumping out dumb fuck questions. And then my kid's suffering. And then the teachers have to like do teacher things and be awesome because they're awesome, and possibly cause issues for themselves because they actually care about our fucking kids. So
Yeah.
no, that's why AJ and I need to run for HISD. Yeah, it's cool. No, but we're gonna make a difference in Houston. Houston is like, yeah, it's an issue. Like you see what happened whenever the shit that Abbott did with the fucking rainbows on our streets,
Oh yeah.
and you
Yeah.
and you saw how the Houstonians responded, added more. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
No, that
that's
was
why there
dope.
needs to be a blue wave, and that's why we need another mayoral election. That's why we need another gubernatorial election in Texas. We could have gotten Abbott out. That's why I mean,
Yeah.
Texas.
Governor
That's the
Hot
sleeping
Wheels.
giant. Like it's a swing state, nobody knows it. Like you don't recognize that you could swing it very easily.
You could, and I think that, just going back to the topic at hand, because like one of the things that I felt was like a great assault on this particular administration is that a lot of progressive Democrats ran on affordability.
Yeah.
And I mean, even and that actually ties into even the conversation concerning school vouchers, because if we just keep it a buck, that is not going to be tenable for people who happen to be living at or below the federal poverty line, because there is a such thing as the working poor, right? So
It's
if
ugly right now.
you are within this enclave of America, no matter where you are, we all are feeling the clutch of prices going up because of,
Yeah.
these stupid ass tariffs.
Yeah, dude.
Where, it was funny. Like, I was talking to my mom and she was thinking about maybe we should make roast beef. But when I was looking at the prices for roast beef,
Mm.
I'm like, can
No,
we make
ma'am.
spaghetti?
20 bucks for, yeah.
We've been living on chicken legs, man. I started a garden in my backyard. I'm fucking
Joe, let me tell you something. I was about to
girl.
tell them, I think for Thanksgiving, I was going to make like a seafood stuffed salmon. How about that?
No,
Because it's a hell of a lot
we're
cheaper
doing
than
chicken
getting
legs and
fucking.
pork chops. Shit.
Gee, listen. Because all that shit is way cheaper than fucking turkey. For real.
Hell
Like,
yeah. I'll
all
fuck up
right.
some chicken legs.
Man, and I don't even eat chicken and I don't eat turkey. So how about that? So it's the turkey carcass is going to be sitting in my refrigerator just like, collecting mold.
Send me the bones. I'll make bone meal for my garden. It'll be all right.
I got
Yeah.
you. I'm
There
going
we
to
go.
email that shit to you right away. But, but back to like this whole thing about like affordability, and especially the Republicans and even some establishment Democrats were furious about Zohran Mamdani because he talked about, free, efficient busing. He talked about freezing rent. He talked about
Yeah.
public grocery stores. He
Yeah.
talked about, things that, made sense. And they said, oh my God, he's speaking communist. I was like, yes, more of
Good.
this,
Fuck
please.
yeah. Good
More of
he
this,
is.
please. Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, and that's the type of thing that we need across the United States. I mean, like, remember what the whole thing was about? Well, I'm not going to Kamala because eggs is too damn high.
Yeah, come on, dude.
Seriously.
Well, they also didn't want to admit that the fact that she's a woman and a person of color and has a name that doesn't sound like a white man's. That's what they're
Those
so.
parts.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, that part right there.
So
So
if she
yeah,
might be a lesbian. Oh, it's
yeah.
like, dude.
And
Fuck
if
all
she
y'all.
was, so what? I mean,
I
like,
would fucking hope so. Come on.
I mean, like, listen, I just want somebody who is capable of actually running the country without, like, throwing it in the goddamn
Look,
toilet.
dude,
How about
I'm not
that?
even the biggest fan of her because the California penal system and I have a grudge against it. I really don't. I studied it. I don't like it. That
Yeah.
said, I'm going to vote for who I want to fight against, who I think is an easier opponent. You know what I'm saying? So somebody like Kamala, that's Kamala, right? Kamala, that's her name.
Kamala, yeah.
I've heard it thrown around in so many different, but I'd much rather her as an opponent because, like, at least I know what I'm working with. Somebody like Trump and them, like, those are dirty, scummy people who like kick you in the nuts and poke your eyes.
They're not even about actually the upliftment of Americans. They're all about, their own aggrandizement.
Yeah, they're not even imperialist scum. Like, they're not even like trying to like expand our borders. They're literally like just
personal gain. Personal gain. That's
cockroaches.
Yeah,
they're worse. They're roaches.
Except for Trump talking about that he wanted to invade Nigeria because he feels that the people the Christians are being tormented.
Oh, the Christian.
Oh, bless the Christian's heart. Oh, bless the Christians.
I mean, the same people who are like torturing their citizens and forcing them to convert, and those rogue pastors, and what?
Listen, what's happening in Nigeria is not an issue with Christians are being targeted because Boko Haram is a problem, but Christians and Muslims are both being killed in a certain area where Boko Haram has a
stronghold.
Yes. Yeah. And so what the problem is that and you ask any Nigerian. Matter of fact, I need to get Afro atheists on here. Girl, Esther, if you out there, girl, holla at me. I need to get you on the show. But the issue really is that the government in itself is corrupt. And
That's authoritarian.
It's to the point where it's the way that so the way that it was explained to me is like, this is how the government works in Nigeria. I would sell you a forest for the price of a tree. And if I'm in leader, get a portion of what you sell the forest for, no matter who lives in that forest. That's what the issue is. And so that is the thing that's really the cause of why they're having like the issues that they're having, because they can't necessarily like focus on that regime in that area because they don't have it together at their federal level.
And what it sounds like you're saying is just the infrastructure itself is just
Part of it.
collapse. I have a very close friend of mine who's
Mhm.
actually he's an Orthodox Jew who's very community minded, very good friend of mine. I love working with him. I actually want to get him involved with the nonprofit stuff that we're doing in Houston. That said, after Somaliland split, started building up, he spent a bunch of time in Somaliland helping rebuild the infrastructure and like start taking advantage of fishing and different types of things. And he says it's so crazy because, of course, I think at that time Somalia. I'm real bad about the African continent history. Texas alone is all encompassing, but the way he explained it is like where he felt safer than walking around in Houston at 3 a.m. He's like, he was shooting me a message. He goes, it's 3 a.m. here. I'm walking around. It's beautiful. A couple people are out doing whatever they're doing. He goes, man, if I was doing this in Houston, I'd be terrified. It's because, and I feel like people cast so much shade on the African continent because of like what happens and like right now in Nigeria with like more or less warlord type behavior. And but it's really sad. So then you get some fucking piece of shit like Trump who just further demonizes people and the Africans, and I mean it's terrible. I'm sorry, AJ, you look like you want to say something.
AJ, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that this is actually, I had looked into this before Trump regurgitated it,
Okay.
and Ted Cruz is the one that started this rumor.
What a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the senator. You talking about Senator Runaway?
He's a little bitch.
That one.
Yeah, Senator Runaway.
I hate
that
fucking person.
Oh, it's getting hot in Texas because I can't do nothing about it, so I'm about to run to Mexico. How about that?
He's such a fucking coward, man. It's I can't.
He's the one that started this whole lie about Nigeria and the Christians being persecuted and murdered in masses and shit. And then everybody heard it and repeated it, and then I guess it got to Trump, and he repeated it too.
Really? Where did he do? Where's the story? Where did he say this? I'm assuming this was a tweet or a fucking internet thing or a.
Yeah, let me see.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Maybe we could put that in the chat or something, or provide that
you
to somebody.
You guys gonna put in chat, but we're gonna have to move on to our next story.
Yes, ma'am. Whatever you say.
Yes,
You're the boss.
So. But no, excellent conversation. You never know, like we got on tangents because that's what we do.